Today we're going to explore a fascinating country, full of culture, history, and unique curiosities. Nepal. This small country in the heart of the Himalayas has much more to offer than just Mount Everest and ancient temples. If you think you know everything about Nepal, prepare to be surprised. From unusual festivals and peculiar traditions to its special relationship with marijuana, Nepal is a veritable treasure trove of curiosities. So grab your backpack, put on your trekking boots, even if it's just to watch from the sofa, and come and discover 25 incredible curiosities about Nepal that will make you laugh, be amazed, and of course want to pack your bags. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, take the opportunity to subscribe and turn on notifications. It doesn't cost anything and you'll be supporting the channel to keep bringing you incredible content like this. Let's go. Let's start with the Gai Jatra, a unique festival in the world. Celebrated in honor of the dead, this festival turns sadness into joy. Families who have lost loved ones in the previous year parade through the streets of the capital Kathmandu with cows, or children dressed as cows, because, according to the belief, this helps souls find their way to heaven. And it doesn't stop there. The festival is full of satire and comedy. Street performers and comedians put on theatrical performances that satirize society, politics, and even religion. Imagine a carnival where, instead of samba, everyone does stand-up comedy in the open air. The aim? To make people laugh in the midst of grief, turning sadness into a celebration of life and resilience. It's a mixture of respect for the dead and the ability to laugh at one's own misfortune. There's nothing better than good humor to deal with life's sorrows, is there? But speaking of unique customs, did you know that in Nepal it's best to keep your hands in your pockets? If you're one of those who loves a hug or a touch on the shoulder, know that in Nepal it's best to keep your hands off other people. Physical contact, especially between men and women who are not close relatives, is highly discouraged. Even a simple touch can be considered disrespectful. So, no pats on the back or kisses on the cheek. Keep your hands in your pockets and avoid misunderstandings. This aversion to physical contact is not just a matter of etiquette, but also a reflection of the country's deep cultural and religious roots. Respect for privacy and personal space is essential. In schools, for example, it is common to see students greeting teachers with a namaste, a greeting made with hands joined and a slight inclination of the head, rather than handshakes. This respect also applies inside houses, where shoes are left outside, and touching someone's head is considered extremely disrespectful, as the head is seen as the most sacred part of the body. So when you're in Nepal, remember, sometimes the best way to show respect is to keep your distance. And while we're on the subject of respect, there's one animal in Nepal that gets more respect than any other. In Nepal, cows are not just farm animals. They are literally sacred. Respect and veneration for cows is deeply rooted in the country's predominant Hindu culture. According to the religion, cows are considered a symbol of wealth, strength, and abundance. This means that mistreating a cow is a major taboo and, in fact, against the law. If you hurt a cow, you could face serious legal consequences. Cows roam the streets freely and no one dares to disturb them. They are treated with the same respect as members of the family. And it's not uncommon to see cows being fed and adorned with flower garlands during festivals. The Gai Jatra festival, which we've already covered, also includes the celebration of cows as divine messengers. In addition, killing a cow is strictly forbidden, and beef is an absolute taboo in Nepalese cuisine. Instead, milk and dairy products are widely consumed and valued. So, the next time you visit Nepal, remember that these gentle, big-eyed creatures have a special status and are treated like real celebrities. It's true that cows symbolize strength, but the real powerhouses in this country are the protagonists of our next curiosity. Nepalese porters are true heroes of the Himalayan trails. These porters are famous for their incredible strength and endurance, carrying heavy loads over long distances and at extreme altitudes. Imagine carrying 30, 40, or even 50 kilos on your back, crossing rugged terrain and climbing steep mountains, all with a smile on your face. They are essential for trekking and mountaineering expeditions, helping tourists and adventurers reach their destinations. Most porters come from rural and mountainous regions, where the ability to carry heavy loads is a normal part of everyday life. Despite their hard work, porters generally receive modest pay, and many depend on this income to support their families. There are ongoing efforts to improve working conditions and ensure that these workers receive fair pay and have access to adequate equipment. In recognition of their importance, some trekkers make a point of tipping generously and expressing their gratitude. Now, let's come down from the mountains and understand a little more about Nepal's social structure. The caste system in Nepal is a cultural heritage with deep and complex roots. Influenced mainly by Hinduism, this system stratifies society into different social levels, determining the status and opportunities of each individual. The main castes include the Brahmins, who are the priests and scholars, the Kshatriyas, who are usually warriors and rulers, the Vaishyas, who are dedicated to commerce, and the Sudras, who are the workers and servants. In addition to these, there are many subcastes and ethnic groups with their own hierarchies. Although the Nepalese constitution has officially abolished caste-based discrimination, in practice these divisions still influence the social and economic lives of many people. Opportunities for education, employment, and marriage are still, in many cases, influenced by caste. Reform movements and human rights organizations work continuously to eradicate discrimination and promote equality. In some urban areas, the influence of the caste system is diminishing, but in rural areas where the tradition is stronger, it is still a significant part of everyday life. And after understanding a little about the social structure, how about getting to know the dish that unites all these castes and social classes? Dal bhat is much more than just a typical Nepalese dish. It is the basis of the Nepalese diet and a true culinary institution. This simple but nutritious dish consists of lentils called dal, served with rice or bhat, accompanied by a variety of side dishes that can include vegetables, meat or fish curry, pickles, and yogurt. Dal bhat is eaten twice a day by most Nepalese, making it the backbone of their daily diet. The secret of dal bhat lies in its versatility and nutritional value. The lentils are rich in protein, while the rice provides carbohydrates needed for energy. The side dishes vary according to the season and the availability of ingredients, ensuring a balanced meal. In many regions, the preparation and consumption of dal bhat is surrounded by family rituals, where everyone comes together to share the meal. Tourists who try dal bhat are often surprised by its simplicity and taste. It's a dish that reflects the soul of Nepal: simple, nutritious, and full of flavor. So, if you visit Nepal, be sure to try the authentic dal bhat and understand why it is so loved by the Nepalese. And speaking of food, did you know that there is a very strict rule about sharing food in Nepal? In Nepal, sharing is a virtue, but when it comes to food and cutlery, there are very specific rules. Never, ever share food that you have already bitten into or cutlery that you have used. This custom is linked to the practice of maintaining purity and hygiene during meals. Each person has their own plate and cutlery, and the idea of jutho, meaning impurity, is taken very seriously. If you bite into a piece of food and offer it to someone else, this is considered extremely disrespectful. Similarly, using the same cutlery to taste something and then putting it back in the shared food can lead to a big problem. This practice is so ingrained that you'll see even at celebrations and parties where large meals are served, each person still keeps their own utensils. This rule extends to serving drinks too. Do you think it's normal to share cutlery and food you've already tasted? Tell us in the comments. And speaking of different customs, here's a curiosity that might confuse anyone visiting Nepal. Unlike most Western countries, where the weekend is Saturday and Sunday, in Nepal, Saturday is the only official day off. Yes, you heard right. Sunday is a working day, and everyone goes to work as if it were a normal Monday. This means that the whole country adjusts to doing all the leisure and rest activities in just one day. Imagine the rush. Banks, schools, and most commercial establishments close their doors on Saturday, and the city is quiet, almost deserted. On Sunday, everything returns to normal and the hectic routine begins again. This difference in the calendar can be a little confusing for visitors, but it's also a unique opportunity to experience a different pace of life. So, if you're planning any important activities, remember that Saturday is the day of rest and Sunday is the day of work. Speaking of the calendar, did you know that Nepal lives in a different year to ours? That's right. Nepal uses the Bikram Sambat calendar, which is approximately 57 years and 8 months ahead of the Gregorian calendar we use. So, while we are in the year 2024, Nepal is in the year 2081. This calendar, widely used for festivities and religious events, follows a lunisolar system, which means that months and years are calculated based on cycles of the moon and sun. The Nepali New Year, known as Navavarsha, is celebrated in mid-April, marking the beginning of the new year in the Bikram Sambat calendar. It is a festive occasion with parades, music, dancing, and many religious rituals. In addition to the Bikram Sambat calendar, Nepal also observes the Buddhist calendar and some other regional calendars, which makes counting time a veritable cultural tapestry. So, if you visit Nepal, get ready for a little trip back in time and enjoy celebrating the new year twice in one year. Now that we're in tune with Nepalese time, let's talk about a very peculiar national symbol. Nepal's flag is unique in the world. It is not a rectangle or square, but made up of two overlapping triangles, forming a figure that stands out among all the other national flags. These two triangles represent the Himalayas and symbolize the country's two main religions, Hinduism and Buddhism. The colors of the flag, red with blue borders, also have deep meanings. Red symbolizes bravery and victory, while blue represents peace and harmony. The symbols inside the triangles, the sun and the moon, represent the hope that Nepal will last as long as these celestial bodies. Created in its current form in 1962, the flag is a reflection of Nepal's identity and history. If you want to draw Nepal's flag, prepare yourself for a little geometry lesson, as its unique shape requires a little more skill than simply drawing a rectangle. Now that we know about Nepal's unique flag, let's talk about one of the country's most fascinating and mystical traditions, the Kumaris. In Nepal, some girls are worshipped as living goddesses, known as Kumaris. These girls, usually chosen from Newar Buddhist families, are considered incarnations of the goddess Taliju until they reach puberty. The selection process is rigorous and includes various tests to ensure that the girl possesses the necessary physical and spiritual characteristics. Once chosen, the Kumari lives in a palace called Kumari Gar in Kathmandu and takes part in various ceremonies and festivals, where she is worshipped by devotees who believe she possesses healing powers and blessings. However, the life of a Kumari is not easy. She must live an isolated life, away from her family and friends, and follow strict rules of behavior. When the Kumari reaches puberty, she returns to normal life, and another girl is chosen to take her place. The tradition of the Kumaris is a fascinating example of how spirituality and culture are intertwined in Nepal, creating a practice that is unique in the world. And speaking of customs and traditions, in Nepal there is a rule of etiquette that you should always remember. The feet are considered unclean. In Nepal, the feet are considered the most impure part of the body, while the head is the most sacred. Therefore, it is extremely disrespectful to touch someone with your feet, or to point your feet at a person or a sacred object. If your feet accidentally touch someone, it is polite to apologize immediately. This rule also applies when sitting. Avoid showing the soles of your feet to other people. In temples and holy places, it is crucial to follow these rules of respect. In addition, always remove your shoes before entering a house or temple, a practice common in many Asian cultures, but which in Nepal is followed to the letter. This tradition reflects a deep respect for others and for spirituality, demonstrating the importance of behaving with humility and consideration in all interactions. And speaking of everyday interactions, let's address a very practical challenge of life in Nepal: the lack of power, water, and internet. One of the biggest challenges that Nepalis face on a daily basis is the lack of basic infrastructure. Power outages are a common problem, especially during the dry season when hydroelectric power generation is reduced. Many families and businesses rely on generators and batteries to keep the lights on. Drinking water is also a scarce resource in many parts of the country. In urban areas such as Kathmandu, it is common to see water tanks being delivered to homes because the public supply is insufficient. The internet, meanwhile, is notoriously slow and unstable, making it difficult to access information and communicate efficiently. Despite these challenges, the Nepalese show admirable resilience, finding creative ways to deal with these limitations and maintaining a strong community spirit. For tourists, it's a reminder to appreciate the comforts we often take for granted and to be patient and adaptable when exploring this beautiful country. After facing these daily challenges, it's natural to want a bit of fun. And in Nepal, one of the ways to have fun is by practicing the country's most popular sport. Surprisingly, volleyball is the most popular sport in Nepal. While soccer and cricket are the kings of sports in many Asian countries, in Nepal, volleyball holds a special place in people's hearts. You'll find makeshift volleyball courts in remote villages, schools, and city parks, with young and old playing lively games. This sport has gained popularity due to its simplicity and the fact that it doesn't require expensive equipment or sophisticated facilities. Local games and tournaments are common and attract large crowds, creating a vibrant atmosphere of camaraderie and healthy competition. The government and various non-governmental organizations also promote volleyball as a way of uniting communities and encouraging physical activity. For the Nepalese, volleyball is more than a game. It's a way of celebrating life, strengthening social bonds, and maintaining health and well-being. And while we're on the subject of celebration and tradition, let's explore Nepal's historical relationship with marijuana. Nepal has a long and complex relationship with marijuana. Until the 1970s, the use and sale of marijuana was legal in the country, attracting hippies from all over the world who were looking for a place to freely enjoy the plant. Kathmandu, in particular, became a popular meeting place for the so-called flower children. However, under international pressure, especially from the United States, the Nepalese government banned marijuana in 1973. Today, although illegal, marijuana grows abundantly in rural areas and is traditionally used by some communities, especially during festivals such as Mahashivaratri, where devotees of Shiva consume it as part of the rituals. Enforcement of marijuana laws is fairly relaxed, and personal use rarely leads to serious legal problems. Recently, there have been discussions about the possibility of legalizing marijuana again, mainly for medicinal use, and as a potential source of economic revenue. For many Nepalis, marijuana remains a part of the country's cultural and spiritual heritage. Now back to sports. Let's discover an unusual sport practiced in Nepal: elephant polo. Elephant polo is a truly unique sport that you'll only find in places like Nepal. This exotic activity is played annually during the World Elephant Polo Championship, held in the Terai, in the southern region of Nepal. The game follows the basic rules of traditional polo, but with one gigantic difference. Instead of horses, the players ride elephants. Imagine the scene: majestic elephants racing across the field, while the players try to score goals using long poles. This event is not only a sporting competition, but also an opportunity to highlight the importance of elephant conservation and promote sustainable tourism in the region. The elephants used in the game are treated with great respect and care, and the event helps to raise funds for initiatives to protect these magnificent animals. Taking part in or watching an elephant polo match is an unforgettable experience that combines sport, tradition, and a noble cause. Speaking of strength and bravery, it's impossible not to mention Nepal's famous Gurkhas. The Gurkhas are famous for their bravery, loyalty, and combat skills. Originally from Nepal, these soldiers have served in various armed forces around the world, especially in the British Army, since the beginning of the 19th century. The Gurkhas' story began during the Anglo-Nepalese War, when the British were so impressed by their skills that they decided to recruit them. The Gurkhas' motto, "Better to die than be a coward," reflects their indomitable spirit. They are known for their use of the kukri, a traditional curved knife, which has become a symbol of their identity. The Gurkhas took part in many important conflicts, including the two world wars, and continue to be a vital part of the British and Indian armed forces. The Gurkhas' legacy is celebrated in museums and monuments in Nepal and other countries, and they continue to inspire respect and admiration around the world. Now that we've talked about bravery, let's explore a sacred place that is the birthplace of one of the most important figures in spiritual history, Buddha. Lumbini in Nepal is revered as the birthplace of Siddhartha Gautama, better known as Buddha. This sacred site attracts Buddhist pilgrims from all over the world who come to pay homage and meditate on the same grounds where Buddha was born in 563 BC. The Lumbini complex is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and includes a series of temples, monasteries, and monuments built by different Buddhist countries over the centuries. The Maya Devi Temple, which marks the exact birthplace of Buddha, is the spiritual heart of Lumbini. Nearby, the Ashoka Pillar, erected by the Indian Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BC, attests to the historical and religious importance of the place. The tranquility and spirituality of Lumbini offer an ideal environment for reflection and spiritual practice. For anyone interested in the life and teachings of Buddha, a visit to Lumbini is a deeply inspiring experience. And while exploring Nepal's spirituality, we can't forget its incredible natural landscapes. Nepal has the 3rd largest ice and snow deposits in the world, second only to Antarctica and the Arctic. The Himalayan glaciers are a vital source of water for millions of people in Asia, feeding some of the continent's largest rivers, such as the Ganges, the Brahmaputra, and the Indus. These glaciers not only sustain life, but are also essential for agriculture, hydroelectric power generation, and the supply of drinking water. Climate change and global warming pose a significant threat to these glaciers, with the risk of accelerated melting that could lead to flooding and water shortages in the future. Researchers and environmentalists are working hard to monitor and mitigate the effects of climate change in the region. In addition to their practical importance, the Himalayan glaciers offer breathtaking views and are a popular destination for trekkers and mountaineers from all over the world. And while we're on the subject of icy mysteries, who could forget the legendary Yeti? The Yeti, also known as the Abominable Snowman, is a legendary creature that supposedly inhabits the mountainous regions of the Himalayas. Stories about the Yeti are common in local folklore and have fascinated adventurers, scientists, and the curious for generations. Descriptions of the Yeti vary, but it is usually portrayed as a large, hairy, bipedal figure, similar to the Bigfoot of North American legends. Many mountaineers, including some Everest climbers, have reported sightings of giant footprints in the snow that they believe belong to the Yeti. Although there is no concrete scientific evidence to prove the existence of the Yeti, the legend remains an important part of Nepal's culture and tourism. Museums and souvenir stores sell replicas of footprints and other items related to the Yeti, attracting curious visitors from all over the world. Whether myth or reality, the Yeti certainly contributes to the mysterious charm of the Himalayas. And speaking of mysteries and wonders, Nepal is home to several UNESCO World Heritage Sites that are well worth seeing. Nepal is rich in UNESCO World Heritage Sites, reflecting its cultural and natural heritage. Among the most notable are the temple and palace complexes in the Kathmandu Valley, which include Durbar Square in Kathmandu, Patan, and Bhaktapur. These sites are famous for their Newar architecture, intricate wood and metalwork, and impressive sculptures. Another important heritage site is Chitwan National Park, a protected area that is home to incredible biodiversity, including one-horned rhinos, Bengal tigers, and Asian elephants. Sagarmatha National Park, home to Mount Everest, is also a World Heritage Site and offers breathtaking views of the mountains and a rich fauna and flora. Lumbini, the birthplace of Buddha, is one of the most important spiritual sites in the world and attracts pilgrims from all over the globe. These sites bear witness to Nepal's rich history, culture, and biodiversity. and visiting these heritage sites offers a deep insight into the many facets of this fascinating country. And speaking of history and independence, did you know that Nepal is one of the few countries that has never been colonized? Nepal has the distinct honor of never having been colonized by foreign powers, which means it has no Independence Day. Unlike many of its neighbors that have gone through periods of colonization, Nepal has maintained its sovereignty throughout history, resisting several attempts at invasion. Nepal's geographical position, protected by the Himalayan mountains, and the diplomatic skills of its leaders, have helped preserve its independence. As a result, Nepal has a rich history of monarchy and now republic, without the mark of colonization. The absence of an Independence Day is a source of pride for the Nepalese, who deeply value their autonomy and cultural heritage. And speaking of heights and national pride, Nepal is often called the roof of the world. Nepal is often called the roof of the world, due to its location in the imposing Himalayan mountains, which include 8 of the 14 highest mountains in the world, including Mount Everest, the highest of them all. This nickname is not only a reference to its geographical elevation, but also to its spiritual and cultural status. Nepal's mountains attract adventurers, climbers, and tourists from all over the world, eager to challenge their heights and explore their natural beauty. In addition, the Himalayan region has a deep spiritual significance, being a place of meditation and pilgrimage for many. For the Nepalese, these mountains are much more than just landscapes. They are an integral part of their identity and culture. The title of Roof of the World is therefore a testament to the special place Nepal holds in the hearts of all those lucky enough to experience its majestic heights. And while we explore the cultural heights and depths, we can't forget Nepal's incredible ethnic and linguistic diversity. Nepal is a veritable mosaic of cultures, home to more than 80 distinct ethnic groups and 123 different languages. This diversity is a reflection of the country's rich cultural and historical heritage. Each ethnic group has its own traditions, festivals, costumes, and dialects, contributing to Nepal's vibrant cultural life. Among the best-known groups are the Sherpas, famous for their skills as mountain guides, the Newars, known for their art and architecture, and the Tharus, with their unique folk dances. Nepal's official language is Nepali, but several other languages, such as Maithili, Bhojpuri, and Tharu, are widely spoken. The peaceful coexistence of this ethnic and linguistic diversity is one of Nepal's greatest assets, enriching the cultural experience for residents and visitors alike. Taking part in local festivals or exploring different regions of the country offers a unique opportunity to immerse yourself in cultural diversity and appreciate the richness of Nepal's heritage. And speaking of culture and tradition, we can't forget the yaks, which are an iconic part of mountain life in Nepal. Yaks are robust and hardy animals, fundamental to life in the high altitudes of the Himalayas. These long-haired cattle are perfectly adapted to the cold and rarefied environment of the mountains, where they play a crucial role in the livelihoods of local communities. Yaks are mainly used as pack animals, transporting food, firewood, and other supplies across the rugged terrain. In addition, they provide milk, meat, and wool, which are essential for the mountain dwellers' food and clothing. Yak milk is used to make cheese and butter, products that are highly valued in the local diet. Yaks also play an important cultural role, appearing in traditional festivals and ceremonies. In the Everest and Annapurna regions, you'll see many yaks carrying heavy loads and grazing serenely on the mountain slopes. They are true symbols of endurance and life in the heights, representing the deep connection between the Nepalese and their majestic mountains. So, did you enjoy learning more about fascinating Nepal? Tell us in the comments what you thought of this incredible trip. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel for more incredible content. Thank you very much for watching and see you on your next adventure. Namaste.